Hi folks, welcome back to Stacey Can. Today I am making chicken stock. This is part of my winter canning series because you can can year round. This is a great time of the year in January, February, March to make a lot of your stocks and broths if you would like. So a lot of these vegetables and such are available year round unless you choose to grow your own. But one perk of doing chicken stock this time of the year is often right after the holidays. There's a lot of meats go on sale. Whatever they don't sell at the stores, they will freeze and then offer up at a discount. So that's what I did. I got some great deals on some chicken parts. So while I go over all this information, you can follow along down below in the show notes. And while you're down there, please hit like and subscribe because that does help. So the ingredients that you need is a chicken carcass, some bones. You can buy something like this where it's all cut up in a bag if you'd like, which is what I did. You can also get a whole chicken and cut it up yourself. It's up to you. But I am including in this carcass also kind of what they call a tray pack. It's just some chicken necks and also some, they call them chicken claws, but they're a chicken paw. No, they're chicken feet. The reason for this is the chicken feet are a good addition for collagen if you would like that buildup for it. So that's up to you on that piece. Do you on that. Okay, and then you also need 1 onion that's quartered, 2 carrots that are cut into thirds, 2 celery stalks that are cut into thirds, 4 whole garlic cloves, 2 bay leaves, a teaspoon of sea salt, a teaspoon of whole peppercorns, a teaspoon of dried thyme, and then also a tablespoon of vinegar if you would like. That kind of gives it a little zhuzhiness there, and then water to cover all of this. The tools that you need. You will need like a slotted spoon of some sort, a sieve as well. You're gonna need a knife here too. If you are not comfortable handling raw meat, you can get yourself some gloves if you like. I did, but I don't always do it because I forget often. And then also you do need, because we're using a pressure canner and this one is currently going with something else. But it's good to have a ruler because we are just to measure out how much water you have in the canner. You need 2 to 3 inches. So some people can eyeball that, some people can't. And then a thermometer of some sort is good just to test the water. We're going to be hot packing today, so the temperature in the canner should be 180 degrees because you don't want to put something hot in a cool canner. That can shock the jars. You need your jar lifter, a ladle, headspace tool, and a chopstick to bubble, and a funnel as well. And I also have some vinegar here, which I like to use to clean the rims after I pour the broth in, and also I like to add it to the canner. It helps kind of keep the canner clean while it's pressure canning. It's just easier to clean afterwards. So, and then I've got my lids and rings and jars. Now the lids I'm not heating up when I pressure can. I don't normally do that, and I'm not doing that today. I just kind of like to do that when I water bath can because I just like them to be cleaned. But when you're putting them in pressure canner, I just kind of feel like the pressure canner 240 degrees does a real good job of cutting all that. So anyway, that's what we're doing here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up the bag here and just pour in the carcass. And I think I'm going to kind of evenly distribute this into a couple of pots because I'm adding other items as well. Now I'm just kind of cutting up the veggies and distributing them. You don't technically need to kind of cut off all these ends if you don't want to, but I'm going to. It's just kind of can be less strain at the end. And then I'm just cutting these up into thirds, throwing them in the pot. The beautiful thing about the celery is you get to use all of these pieces, the end pieces. So I'm just gonna throw in whole pieces of the celery. And also the this flowery or leafy end, I should say. There's a lot of flavor in the leaf, the celery leaves, so definitely use those as well. Your onion quartered. So just quartering the onion now. It's a pretty big onion, so I'm going to evenly distribute into the 2 pots. Prepping the garlic, so I just kind of cut off that in there, and it makes it a little easier to peel. 2 bay leaves, and I do basically have kind of doubled this, so I'm doing a teaspoon of whole peppercorns for each pot, and then a teaspoon of the sea salt, and then some thyme, and a tablespoon of vinegar. All the ingredients are in here. We're gonna go ahead and cover these pots, and we're gonna turn the heat on to low. And I am gonna cook this overnight, or for about 12 hours, well, about 12 hours, but you wanna cook it overnight to let all the good juices do their work. So this stock is done, and it has cooled. I actually set it pretty cold where I'm at right now, so I set it outside to get it to cool completely, because I was hoping to get some of the fat a little more congealed on top. There's definitely a film here, so I'm just gonna take this, what's this called? Spatula, thank you. And just kind of gently scoop off that layer of fat. You just don't want too much fat when you're pressure canning. It's just, it doesn't leave you with a very good product. And so I'm just kind of skimming up as much of the fat as possible. And you can tell when you're doing it, you may not be able to see it on film, but you can tell when you're doing it here that it really is this topmost layer. And it's coming off quite nicely. And you can go ahead and take off some of the herbs and such too, because we are going to be getting rid of those as well. And I'm just skimming off the layer. This is something you can do a few days in advance. I'm gonna use my tongs here and remove the solid pieces. I know these chicken feet don't look very appetizing. And then I'm gonna use my little strainer here. And this is gonna be great to get out some of the herbs and spices, as well as some, like there's whole peppercorns in there, and some more of the solids. Okay, I got all of the stock strained, and I strained it twice just because it needed it. There was still a bunch of gunk at the bottom, solids, meaning gunk. And I've put it back in the pot here that I cleaned, and I've set the heat up to high, and when it comes to a boil, we'll start filling the jars. So I've got my jars that have been heating up in a canner here, and I'm going to fill this to a 1-inch headspace. And this is my 1-inch headspace funnel. I am kind of spinning around just a little bit with the bubbler here, and just checking my measurements here. I've got a 1-inch headspace there, and then I'm using some vinegar to clean the rim. And I'm using vinegar versus water because it does have some fat in it, these things do, so I'm just trying to just want to wipe that off as best as possible. And then you just want to do fingertip tight. It's really hot, so be careful. So when you add your ring, fingertip tight. And just up and over and into the canner. Do not tip or tilt. I got all the jars in the canner, got the lid on, and I've kicked the heat up to high, and I'm waiting for that steady stream of steam. I got a steady stream of steam going, so I've set the timer for 10 minutes to vent the canner. The 10-minute timer has gone off to vent the canner. Now I'm going to, so I covered it, and we're gonna wait for it to get up to the pounds of pressure needed, and then we'll set another timer. So my dial gauge has gone up to 12, which is where I need to be for my for my altitude. Also, it's technically 11 because I'm at 0 to 1,000 feet, but I had my gauge tested recently, and it reads it's off a pound, so I have to can it at 12 psi. So anywho, so I've gone ahead and set the timer for 20 minutes for my altitude for pints. It's 25 minutes for quarts for my altitude. Well, it's still the same time, 20 and 25 minutes for pints and quarts, but the PSI is different per your altitude. So you can go ahead and check off to the side here for your location or down below in the show notes. The timer has gone off, so I've cut the heat, and when the dial gauge hits 0, we'll set another timer to let the jars rest. The dial gauge has dropped down to 0, so we can take the weight off. And now I've set a timer for 10 minutes. This is gonna give the opportunity for the foodstuffs to settle before removing from the canner, and this just helps with the sealing process. The 10-minute timer has gone off, so we're gonna go ahead and open the canner. Make sure to open it away from your face, because that is some very hot steam. Now we're gonna carefully remove the jars. And remember, do not tip or tilt. Now it does have some stuff at the bottom, some sediment at the bottom, but that's pretty typical with the broth, with the stock. I didn't put it through like a coffee filter to collect some of that. All of that is just some more of the solids that that weren't collected out. I chose not to do that because the stock itself, when it was cold, all of that collagen was pretty thick, and I think it would have been difficult to have gotten it through the cheesecloth. So I left it here. Well, when you open it, you don't have to use all of it. You can leave the sediment down at the bottom, or use it because it's just some of the solid meat parts that just didn't make it through the sieve. So keep that in mind. Boy, it smells really good. It smells really good. And I did take a taste of it. It's delicious. It's really hearty. It'll make a really quick meal. I mean, you could super quick chicken noodle soup, to be honest, or chicken soup. You know, you boil some rice or any leftover rice or leftover pasta, you can mix with some of this, heat this up, and throw it all together really quickly, and you have yourself a really nice brothy soup. So that would be delicious. Obviously, you can use it for any of your dishes, soups, and such, anything that you use the stock for. So that's how you do it. So the recipe is down below in the show notes, as with some other additional information. And while you're down there, please hit like and subscribe, because that does help. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, feedback, concerns, by all means, please reach out to me. I'm on Facebook at Stacey Can. You can at me on Instagram and TikTok at Stacey Can. My website is www.staceycancan.com. My email is info@staceycancan.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn and Pinterest at Stacey Can. So thanks so much for joining me today. Until next time, happy canning.